Today, we are very much concerned about the mindless exploitation of Mother Nature and also the destruction of cultural assets. This makes us to create awareness campaigns regarding the preservation of ecological balance and also the conservation of ancient monuments and lithic records such as inscriptions. Do you know that in the history of Tirumala temple, nearly 800 years ago itself, an effort has been made to preserve and conserve the temple inscriptions? Who made that effort? What were the reasons behind it? Why such conservation activity has been taken up 800 years ago? And what exactly happened in Tirumala temple at that time that has caused this preservation activity to be taken up? To find answers for all these questions, we have to walk into the world of inscriptions. Join me and let us together explore the world of inscriptions. It's a 13th century inscription found in Tirumala temple by Sadhu Subramanya Shastri, the TTD epigraphist. This inscription doesn't talk about donations or anything else. It talks about the conservation activity taken up to preserve the inscriptions that were ancient by that time. That means by 13th century itself. So who is that person who made this mammoth effort of conserving the ancient inscriptions of his time? It is Vira Narasimha Yadavaraya, a feudatory chief of Chola emperors, who ruled over a sizable province and had his seat of power set up in the historical town of Chandragiri. Kalahasti, Tirumala, Tirupati, and many other holy places were falling within his ruling provinces. So, Vira Narasimha Yadavaraya is the person who made an effort to conserve inscriptions that are ancient by his time. And Sadhu Subramanya Shastri, the TTD epigraphist, has made a profounding statement on the efforts put by Vira Narasimha Yadavaraya. Let us go through his statement.
A number of inscriptions, especially those that belong to the pre-Vijayanagara times, are either fragmentary, incomplete, or damaged, so much so that some of them contain almost no matter at all. This state of lithic records is accounted for by the frequent renovations carried on to the prakaras and other structures in the temple during the past 5 or 6 centuries. All this unfortunately done in ignorance of the very valuable, illuminating, and far-sighted injunctions of Vira Narasimha Yadavaraya, a feudatory chief of the 13th century. He communicated to the managers of the temple to copy the old inscriptions as they were then engraved on the parts to be repaired or rebuilt.
Thus, it becomes very clear now that it is Vira Narasimha Yadavaraya, a feudatory of Chola emperors, who ordered the temple managers of Tirumala to conserve the inscriptions. It also becomes clear for us that he not only asked them to conserve the old inscriptions, but he also advised them to re-engrave the old inscriptions. That means to rewrite the contents of the old inscriptions on new stones. He also advised the temple managers to ensure that these stones will be put back in the same place of the structure where they were found. That means the rocks where the re-engraving of the old inscriptions has happened, must be put back in the same place where they were found. This makes us to move to the next question as to what made Vira Narasimha Yadavaraya to issue such a royal order to the temple managers. Let us explore that.
Though the exact description of the events that led to the Yadavaraya's instructions is not available, there are enough pointers available in inscription number 88 found on the north wall of the first prakara of the Tirumala temple. According to the inscription, one Deshantari named Tirupullanidasar petitioned to the king that he will renovate the central shrine of Kovil Alvar in Tirumala temple. As the renovation works progressed, it came to the notice of the king that the old inscriptions were being removed and thrown out. This act of ignorance made the king to issue a royal order to the sthanatars.
The effort made by Vira Narasimha Yadavaraya to conserve inscriptions is not only praiseworthy but also be a role model for us. Nearly 800 years ago, a far-sighted king like Vira Narasimha Yadavaraya has shown the way for us to conserve and preserve the ancient monuments and records. As compared to the greatest emperors like Cholas, Pandyas, then the Vijayanagara emperors, Vira Narasimha Yadavaraya was a small king ruling over a small province. This smallness has not become a hindrance for him to see what best he can do in preserving the old records. His due respect towards those unknown ancient devotees who donated in faith to God Venkateshwara is praiseworthy. May the far-sightedness of Vira Narasimha Yadavaraya, who lived nearly 800 years before us, become a role model and a template for the public and also the government agencies that are involved in preserving and protecting the ancient monuments and ancient lithic records such as inscriptions. Hope this program could able to give you some useful and interesting information regarding the history. Team Anveshi is committed to continue our efforts in bringing up the most neglected or forgotten chapters of history to the fore. Please subscribe to our channel and support the team such that we can do more such useful programs. Thank you. Namaste.